The 1970s were a time when things were changing a lot, and this included high school. For many people growing up during this time, going to high school in the 1970s was a time of feeling free, trying new things, and learning about oneself. In this video, we'll look back at what it was like to be a teenager going to high school in the 1970s. One big thing about high school in the 1970s was how people dressed. They liked wearing bell-bottom jeans, platform shoes, and colorful swirling patterns. People liked to show who they were through what they wore. The clothes back then showed how the world was changing, and young people wanted to be different from the way things were before. Another cool thing about the 1970s was the music. People loved listening to bands like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and the Rolling Stones. They would get together to listen to albums and talk about their favorite songs. Going to concerts was also a big deal for high school students back then. It was awesome to see their favorite bands play live. Playing sports was also a big part of high school life in the 1970s. Students were encouraged to play football, basketball, and baseball, among other sports. It was seen as a way to learn important things like working together, being disciplined, and not giving up. Students also enjoyed watching games and cheering for their friends who played. One of the best things about going to high school in the 1970s was the social part. High school was a place where you could make good friends and figure out who you wanted to be. People in the 1970s were more open and accepting of each other. They wanted to question the old ways and make new rules. Students could say what they thought and make friends based on shared interests. Something different about the 1970s was that some students used drugs like marijuana and LSD. Even though schools didn't approve of it, some students still tried these drugs. They saw it as a way to go against what people expected. But despite this, high school in the 1970s was generally a safe place. Bad things like shootings were rare, and students felt safe and happy in school. What do you remember about high school in the 1970s? Share in the comments. In the end, even though the 1970s were a time of change, high school was a good and safe place for many. People look back on those high school years and remember them as some of the best times of their lives. Thanks for watching this look back into the past. If you liked this video, you might enjoy watching some of these too.